Sarah, Glenn, thank you, and we'll have all sorts of reaction. We'll be here for a while as the Oilers are in their first Cup final since 2006. There's Carlo Colaiacovo, there's Marty Biron, there is Darren Dreger. From the second the Oilers won the McDavid draft lottery in 2015, this felt possible, perhaps even inevitable. But it took 9 long years and an awful lot of pain for it to happen. Put some perspective, Dregs, on this journey to get here.
Yeah, it's all about the history, right? I mean, if you want to start with recent history, you go to the beginning of the season where there was nothing going the way of the Edmonton Oilers, to a point where they had to fire their coach, Jay Woodcroft, early in the month of November. Now you go back to the playoffs, and you go back a couple of years ago where Connor McDavid, the Edmonton Oilers, play the Colorado Avalanche, the Western Conference Final. They just weren't quite ready. Colorado goes on to win the Stanley Cup. There's no shame from Edmonton's perspective. Last year, they lose to the Vegas Golden Knights in round 2, and they were sour. Edmonton felt they were the better team going up against Vegas in that series. It didn't. They weren't ready to win. It's pretty obvious. So now you fast forward to where they're at. They're going to the Stanley Cup Final, but there's just a different commitment from top to bottom in this group, and I think it's based on the fact that they've learned how to lose, as ridiculous as that sounds.
And you mentioned the commitment. The commitment to play defensive hockey is unreal. When you look at all the banners in Edmonton, you see all the flying offense, right? The high-flying offense that the Oilers have had through the 80s, and Gretzky and Messier and Curry and all of that. And now you think with the Edmonton Oilers and McDavid, it's going to be high-flying offense again, and the high-danger chances that they've not given up to Dallas, like 11, 10, 10, 6, 5, 10. Dallas had 19 high-danger chances when they beat Colorado in Game 6. They didn't even get above 11 at 5-on-5 in any game in these playoffs. It's been amazing.
And it's been amazing watching the best player in hockey lead the way, Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
And he did that the last 3 games. 6 points in the last 3 games. Must be the gray suit. We should all get gray suits. But every year when we do the TSN Top 50 list, or not just we, everybody involved, 2 players that are in the top 5 are McDavid and Draisaitl.
Well, McDavid's always number 1,
always
and
number
Draisaitl's
1.
2 or 3 or 4.
The fact that we're getting a chance to see 2 of the best players in the game playing the Stanley Cup Finals is what every hockey fan wants to see. So you have to be big fans of what you just saw, and especially the way McDavid carried the team in this game.
And it is so fitting that they get to the Stanley Cup Final on 2 terrific McDavid points, including one of the filthiest goals. I don't know if it's his greatest goal ever, because there's been a ton. But if you consider context, it may be the greatest goal that he's ever scored.
I would agree with that. Yeah. I would agree with that. I mean, it's certainly the goal of the playoffs, unless we see something more dramatic in the Stanley Cup Final, which I suppose with Connor McDavid is entirely plausible. As a team, they wanted to duplicate the effort that they put forth in Game 5, but they needed a bit more to close. Well, here's the bit more, right? It's Connor McDavid just charging on the power play. I mean, this is just a ridiculous play as he weaves his way through 2 players and cutting right from the top of the circle, gets by Steele, then weaves around Miro Heiskanen, and then finishes with the backhand flip upstairs and beating Jake Oettinger. So that's the power play to get things going. Here's McDavid drawing 2 Dallas Stars players. That opens things up for Zach Hyman, who evidently can shoot the puck pretty well to make it 2-0. So that's just a determination in Connor McDavid's game that maybe is elevated with the rest of his effort.
I see Jake Ottinger's reaction to the McDavid goal. I'm thinking, the body language is, how does he do it? Like, he comes in and toe drags through everybody. You're thinking Hyman's on the back door, Draisaitl's the high shot, right? I have to be on my toes. I cannot commit to Connor McDavid. He's only scored 4 goals. He hasn't shot the puck all that well. He's not going to make anything happen at the net. And then not only does he toe drag, look at Oettinger. Yeah. He comes out and it's a chip back and over the shoulder. You just got to tip your cap to the like a golfer's salute, right? Okay, Canadian Open here. Good. Thank you very much. You did a great job.
But what about Miro Heiskanen? This guy's a Norris Trophy winner, and he dangled the crap out of him on that play. I've been that defenseman, and I'm like, you just don't want to make yourself look bad. And Heiskanen, you're not expecting a shot, but I want to talk about Zach Hyman on this goal, because it's the second point that McDavid got. It's the pass to Hyman, but everyone says, Hyman, he scores goals just in the crease. Did you see where he shot that puck from? It was just inside the hash marks, and it was at such a timely part of the game. They got a 1-0 lead. They had a chance to really take a strangle in this game. And for Zach Hyman, a guy that's been leading the way, scoring goals for this team, such a pivotal moment for him in the Edmonton Oilers that he's the guy that gets that one.
McDavid goes over 30 points and joins another elite club. There's a million stats, which McDavid is elite in, but here's another good one when it comes to playoffs. Only 6 players have multiple 30-plus point playoff seasons in their playoff career, and a lot of them are from the old days. There's Gretzky, there's Curry, there's Mario. Kucherov is the only real modern player, and now Connor McDavid is there as well. We have all sorts of post-game reaction we're going to get for you. Let's start with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Exciting. That's why this is what we play for right here. But there's a lot of work left. Obviously, we're going to face a good team. We know who we're playing already, which is kind of nice. So we'll soak it in. We'll enjoy it tonight. But yeah, I mean, we got a week to get ready here.
What do you make of that atmosphere up there?
I mean, unbelievable. It's hard to put into words, really. I mean, they just keep getting louder and louder every year, and every series, every game. It's nice to be able to do this in front of them tonight, and I mean, we rally behind their support every night.
Ryan, you're up 2-0, and you know you guys are obviously very confident in your defensive game, maybe a lot more than you ever have been before. Ideally, do you want to push a little bit more than you did in the final 2 periods?
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, you want to push without giving away any easy chances, and I thought they did. They're a good team. They're hard to when they're pushing like that. They're hard to create a lot of offense against. So, ideally, of course, we're going to push a little more, play a little more in the O-zone, and put some more pucks on net, but. At the end of the day, we got the job done, and we'll look forward to playing forward here.
When you're protecting the lead, is the clock never moving fast enough?
Yeah,
you keep looking at the clock, says, when's it going to get over here?
You try not to, but of course, I mean, I think there's 20 whistles in the last 5 minutes or something. So it's be lying if I said if it wasn't stressful. But I mean, it's what it's all about, and boys did a great job.
You've had a lot of goalies here in the time you've been here. Tell us about Stuart Skinner.
I mean, incredible. Every time we need him to put on a big performance, he steps up. So tonight, the other night when they got the one to start to push, I mean, he's just been incredible for us. Some huge performances, and I mean, I know that he's gonna prepare here, and we're gonna get ready to go next week.
What about special teams in this series?
Yeah, I mean, it's something we work on all year, and we take a lot of pride in. Obviously, I think our power play, having the 2 games tonight, the other night, was big for us, and I mean, PK has been rolling. It's always a new challenge with who you're playing next, so we'll look forward to that. But yeah, I mean, we take a lot of pride in it, and we're going to keep getting better.
You practice against Connor. You've played in so many games with him. When you see something like that, do you think you're watching a video game?
Yeah, I mean, you still don't get used to it for sure. I'm sure you guys watching him on a daily basis too. You don't get used to it. It's he pulls something like that out, and I mean, it's pretty mind-boggling. But yeah, for him to make that play a night like tonight is incredible, and that's why he's our leader.
At what point did you guys decide not to touch the trophy?
Pretty late. I mean, it was after for sure. Wasn't a whole lot of discussion. Just I don't know. I mean, it just came about it. Obviously, never been in this situation. We didn't talk about it before, so that was the decision.
Ryan, if we told you on November 10th or 12th,
it would be a long road ahead, for sure. Obviously, didn't give ourselves a start, make it easy on ourselves, but we still had belief in this room, and I think that's what it's all about.
Oilers goaltender Stuart Skinner.
Some ups and downs and in and out a little bit, and here you are, biggest game of the year, maybe the best game you played perhaps ever. What do you think?
On if this was the best game.
Obviously, pretty much better than that.
Well, I appreciate that. It was obviously a great game. It was just a hard-fought battle through the whole 60 minutes. You obviously knew that Dallas was going to come out, and they gave us a hard time every single game. I mean, looking back on all the scores, everything was tight, everything was close. Just an incredible team to play against, and a great challenge for us to play, and also just to get through. And the same thing is going to be going forward here against Florida. They're going to be another amazing challenge for us to get to play.
Did you ever think you'd play a hockey game and be the goalie in a game where you get to go to the Stanley Cup after?
If you told me this 5-6 years ago, I'd probably tell you you're crazy. But honestly, moments like this, it's really hard to say. It's very cool, and it's it's a lot more than cool. But it's very exciting, and I'm very fortunate and grateful to be a part of such an amazing club.
Stu, since you got the 2-game rest, you come back, you're 6-2, you have a .925 save percentage and a goals against under 2. What did that break do for you?
Yeah, I think it was obviously a good time for me to kind of reset mentally and get some rest physically and just really remember what I'm here to do. And I think after that break, being able to come back and have the games that I was able to play and winning Game 7 against Vancouver and just bringing that momentum into the Dallas series, I think was just really massive for myself personally. Not only that, but the way that our team's been playing lately is just it's pretty incredible. And there's no way I have any types of numbers like that without the guys in front of me.
Stu, you said goalies like to challenge themselves against the other team's goalie. Was that the case in this series?
I wasn't thinking too much about that. I'm sure Otter wasn't thinking too much on that as well.
You just want to play as good as?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want to play better, but Otter is an incredible goalie, and I wasn't able to get all the words out in the lineup. But for him, it's incredible to watch him year in year out. He's again one of the best goalies in the world.
We apologize for some of the video quality there. Stuart Skinner has to apologize for nothing from his performance. Remember when he was yanked there in the middle of the Vancouver series, and you wondered if he'd be back in, if the Oilers would even move on the way they were looking, partly because of his performance.
Looks like it was the best thing for him. Nice
6-2, 1.69, .920, and it's almost like with every victory, the confidence has grown and grown, and he heads into the Stanley Cup Final now for the first time in his career, for the first time in pretty much everybody on the Oilers' career. And it's funny because if we'd have said before the playoffs, the number one reason the Oilers are in the Stanley Cup Final, it would obviously be McDavid and Draisaitl and some of the supporting cast. You can make an argument it's not that. It's a special teams unit that is ludicrous. And it's not even a power play that scored 4 goals in the last 2 games to get them there. It's a PK that somehow went 14 for 14
Bonkers.
in the series, 28 for their last 28, record-breaking.
Yep.
Elias Lindholm, congratulations. You scored the last power play goal against the Oilers on May the 12th in the second period of Game 3. How did they do this?
Well, there's clearly been a transformation in the Edmonton Oilers because for years people looked at them as the best offensive team in the league, and I think the Edmonton Oilers have learned from their losses, and teams that get this far usually do learn from their losses. You look at the recipe to win in playoffs. You need to be led by your stars. You need great goaltending, which they got, and you need great special teams. James, you talked about it. Best penalty kill, historic penalty kill in this playoff run. Best power play. They have been led by that, but it's the way they play defense too. 5-on-5. They played one of the highest scoring teams in Dallas Stars, third highest scoring team in the league, and they completely shut them down. A big reason why the Edmonton Oilers are in the Stanley Cup Final is because they've learned how to play defense to complement their offense.
And there's no adjusting necessary for Mark Stewart or for Paul Coffey, the coaching staff of the Edmonton Oilers. Now, Stewart and the Oilers coaches do deserve credit for establishing the structure of that penalty kill, but it's like you quick kick the door open as soon as it happens because these guys are so in tune and so confident with the penalty kill that they've established that there really isn't a whole lot of adjustments.
They get a penalty, there's no panic. We're killing
automatic.
And you know what? You got to give credit to CC Ekholm, Janmark, Brown, who have played most on the penalty kill. But you know what? Cliches are thrown around in the NHL and in all sports, and it's always a penalty kill. Well, your goaltender has to be your best penalty killer. I hate that because there's a lot of responsibilities around. But Stuart Skinner has been really, really good. And he was asked, you know, the 2-game break that he had against the Vancouver Canucks, and I wish he would have answered, Carlo, like, I hated it. And I know inside of him he hated taking a break. So in Game 3, he gives up the bad goal to Jason Robertson to make it 4-3. And there was questions like, well, is Skinner going to go back in Game 4? Is it Skinner? No. He responds with a really good game in Game 4, despite the fact that he gave up a goal in the first shot, 2 goals in the first 4 shots, and then he shut the door. He only had 20 saves that game and only 19 saves in Game 5. Better showing in this game, obviously. But against the Vancouver Canucks, he was having a hard time with low shot total. He gave up 3 and 19 and 4 and 15. So it's not easy for the goalie when you don't see a lot of shots like this, but he was able to find the strength mentally to be able to stand on his head in those 3 games.
More from the Western Conference champion Edmonton Oilers. Here's Zach Hyman.
I mean, he came in when we were rock bottom. And I think he just instilled a wave of calmness and confidence. I think he helped guys find their game. He helped some of our best players, right? Like, we were all struggling. I think that's why our team was where we were. And he came in just with a calming presence, with a process-based plan. And I think for a rookie coach, he's done a pretty good job. Like, he's had an impact on these playoff series with his decisions, with his game management, and as a player, that's all you want with the coach, is to give you a plan and you can go out and execute. So he's been phenomenal.
Zach, what do you make of the atmosphere of the fans being able to do this type of thing in front of the whole crowd?
I mean, I was doing an interview after, I couldn't even share the questions. They were so loud. Like, this is one of the reasons I wanted to come here. I remember as a kid watching Edmonton, Carolina, and my brothers and I were like, oh, that building is crazy. Like, it is the loudest building we've ever seen on TV. And I vividly remember talking to my brother Spence about it when we signed. Like, man, I hope we get an opportunity to go to the Stanley Cup Final in front of these fans. And I mean, it was crazy loud for Game 6, for the closeout game. And I expect it to be bonkers. I mean, it's going to be wild. And this is why I come to a market like this, to play in front of fans like this. This is what you dream of.
I just can't remember what everyone's cheering for the Oilers, coast to coast.
That's nice.
Any additional pressure knowing you're Canada's team now?
Well, I don't know if Toronto's cheering for us, but, but it's nice to hear Ottawa is. Listen, I mean, hockey means so much to Canada and to Canadians, and it's been a long time since a Canadian team has won the Cup. So, I mean, it would mean a lot to Canadians, whether they're Oiler fans or not, I'm sure. Some pride over the Americans, but, I mean, that's pretty cool to hear.
So are the Oilers Canada's team? I'm at the Canadian Open today on the 13th hole, the rink hole. And I have to say, there was a Let's Go Leafs chance, but there was a lot of Let's Go Oilers chance. And when Amanda, who works for CBS, she came out with a McDavid jersey and a Matthews jersey and said, which one should I wear? And the Oilers jersey got the greater applause. Now, I'm not saying, I think Zach's probably right. There's a lot of Leaf fans that don't want the Oilers to win. There's a lot of people around the country. But do you think the presence of McDavid makes it a little bit different? That even if Canadian teams, look, all Canadian cities want their own team to win the Cup first and break the drought. But do you think the lure of McDavid has lured Canada into supporting the Oilers?
For me, it has. And look, I'm not the type of guy that cheers for teams. I cheer for players. And McDavid is the best player in the game. Draisaitl's a pretty good player. Hyman's a Toronto guy, really good player. You got to cheer for the best players of the game to play for the best trophy in sports. And to me, that's where I stand.
Well, I grew up with the Nordiques and the Montreal Canadiens, heated rivalry, right? And if the Nordiques were out of the playoffs, I would never have cheered for the Canadiens. I can tell you that. And look, the Oilers, they did their thing against Vancouver, so I doubt that there's a lot of Vancouver fans that are cheering for the Oilers. Calgary fans are probably not cheering for the Oilers. Toronto fans are not cheering. So you look around Canada, you got to find your spots. But Connor McDavid is definitely making that difference.
I mean, a handful of Edmonton Oilers players live in the greater Toronto area, right? Including McDavid and Draisaitl and Hyman. So maybe a piece of the Toronto Maple Leafs Nation is going with these guys.
Well, the popularity of McDavid here, that does make a difference in this market. And probably attributed to some of the stuff at the Canadian Open today as well. Let's hear from the two stars of the Edmonton Oilers, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl.
Hi, this is for both of you guys. It's kind of a two-part question. Can you go back to November when you were kind of at the lowest, the lowest point? to where you are now, and then both of you have been here for so long. What's it finally like in this moment?
Lowest point of what? The year or the whole time we've been here, or what?
Yeah.
The whole time we've been here. Yeah, I mean, there's been lots of growing pains for sure. Lots of lessons along the way, and obviously it feels good. It feels great to be in this position. This was always part of the plan, and feels good to be here today.
Second row on the right.
Connor and Leon, just for both of you, what does this moment right now feel like to have these fans out here and to do this in front of them?
Yeah, it means a lot, of course. Like Connor said, a lot of painful years that we've gone through, and lots of learning along the way, and obviously to be able to do it at home, and for this city and for these fans, and for ourselves as well is it's great. It's a great feeling, of course. That being said, of course, we got bigger dreams and bigger goals right now.
And Connor, you wore the same suit for Game 4, Game 5, and Game 6. Just want to see if there's a background. Is that on purpose?
What's that?
You wore the same suit coming into the game for Game 4, 5, and now 6 here. Is there a story behind that? Is it a superstition?
Maybe. Let you guys speculate.
Connor, this was anything but kind of like a straight line or smooth ride for Stu. He had some bumps along the way here, but when you guys needed him in this game, that's probably as good as he's been in these playoffs. So just your thoughts on the adversity you watched him go through, and then what you thought of him when it was in the balance tonight.
Well, first off, he was unbelievable tonight. We're not sitting up here talking about a win if it wasn't for him. We're on a plane to Dallas if it wasn't for Stu. So, he was unbelievable. He's gone through lots. He's still such a young goalie, but he's gone through so much. I keep saying this. A lot of people doubt him. A lot of people don't say the nicest things about him, but he is an elite goaltender in this league. He really is. He showed that tonight. He showed that over the course of the year in the playoffs. He loves proving people wrong, and he certainly did that.
Front row left, Mike.
Yeah, Leon, you've seen Connor do a lot of moves before. Have you ever seen that one? And Connor, can you just, after Leon's done, just take us through the goal and what was going through your mind there?
Yeah, it was nice. Seen it before, but nice. There's one player in the world that can make plays like that and things like that happen. I don't know what to say. He knows what I think of him. I think everybody does. So I'll just leave it at that. It's just there's one player in the world that can make things like that happen.
Third row left, Jason.
Oh, sorry. The goal. Got the puck from Leo up high, and just I like being on that left side. I like being on that left flank, and tried to get to the middle of the rink, and that was the best way I thought possible, and just tried to get a backhand on net.
As some of your other leaders mentioned, obviously you would have liked to press more, but you didn't give up a lot of grade A chances. Zach said in the past maybe you might have broke, right, and you would have given up the lead, and today you only gave up half. Can you maybe talk about just after they made it 2-1? I think you only gave up 3 or 4 shots after that. What is it about your teams? Maybe have you learned how to play in those tight games from the pain of losing in the past? Do you notice it when you're on the ice?
We've closed out big games. It's not always been maybe the prettiest, but we've got it done, and that's really all that matters. I thought we gave up a couple looks coming down the stretch that we'd like to not give up, but guys sacrificing their body with big blocks, or Stu making timely saves, or whatever it was. We got it done, and that's all that really matters. We'll move on from this one tonight.
Front left, Bob.
Connor, in 2 series, the penalty killing unit has not given up a goal. How important has the coach, in terms of building team, focused on delineating specific roles
and making everybody feel a part of things.
100%. That's so important. Everybody's got a piece of the pie here. Everybody's got a job to do, and maybe for guys who aren't on the power play, they're on the penalty kill, and those guys have done an unbelievable job of, buying in and doing an amazing job on the kill. It's been fun to watch, really. I get a front row seat to it. The kill has been so fun to watch.
Center right, Sean.
To Leon's point before, I mean, I think both you are players who can do things almost no one else in the world can do offensively. But when you guys go down 2-1 in this series, I wonder what you guys take away, what kind of pride you take away from the way your team was able to defend and shut them down offensively for the remainder of that series.
Yeah, we take big pride in that. You have to in these moments. I think, like Connor said, sometimes it's not pretty, but no team is pretty while defending a lead with a team, sitting 2 minutes away from being eliminated. Right? They got an extra guy out there, and sometimes it's a little bit of desperation and a little bit of sacrifice. And at the end of the day, we got it done, and it's all that matters.
Few things there. First of all, it's so cool to hear the crowd. Usually these things are done in the bowels of a building, and everybody's long since gone. And with the way that building is, and the Oilers fans there and chanting MVP, while McDavid is stoic, sitting at the podium. And I think that's another thing. We've seen that every win, every loss in these playoffs, exactly the same face. Yeah. And he's clearly saying we still have business to do here with four more wins.
Yeah, and I get it. I love the mentality he's trying to stick with, but the Stanley Cup Final doesn't start till Saturday. He scored one of the best goals of the playoffs. He helped get his team to Stanley Cup Finals. Enjoy it a little bit. Show some personality.
Well, they probably are in the room.
I get it.
Right?
It's just
not us.
I mean, Draisaitl was having a good time there. I just feel like McDavid could have had a little bit of a good time
Crosby.
too.
Every time he's gotten there,
Same
he
way.
stayed the same way. McKinnon doesn't show like fun. He shows anger. He shows emotions in that way. So yeah, absolutely.
And one more word on the whole McDavid and Canada's team thing. I just think look, we're neutral when we watch these. But I think all those years when they got knocked out, we kept saying hockey is being deprived of its best player. It's maybe its best player ever. Seeing him on the greatest stage. And this is what we'll all finally get to see as hockey fans, is the most advanced player in history on the greatest stage in the sport.
There was a time this year where we were being asked the questions here at TSN, who has the best chance of winning a cup, ending the drought, right? And Toronto came into there, and then Vancouver came into there. Like, the Edmonton Oilers dropped to third and maybe even fourth on that list at a few times this season. So to know that they're the team now that have a chance after 31 years to do it in the finals, it's pretty impressive.
Let's hear from the other side of the story and Dallas head coach Pete DeBoer.
We're going to empty the tank, and just what can you say about everything that you guys tried to throw out there tonight?
Yeah. Well, just gutted is the only word I can feel, when you lose a game like that. I think proud of our group, proud of our fight, proud of our battle. You're just gutted. They did leave everything out there. Should be going for going to play a game 7. We're not. You have to give Edmonton credit. Their power play, particularly over the last 2 games, was good, and their goaltender was good. It's fine lines. You get to this point of the year, and they were on the right side of it. I thought we had a little bit of an off night in Game 5. And they won. They had a little bit of an off night tonight, and they still found a way to win. That's the difference. Post in overtime in the Game 1. So anyway, I don't know. It's tough to swallow.
Stay in the front left, Mike.
Hey, Pete. We talk about injuries at this time of year. If you can't talk about specifics, just how much your players fought through a lot of stuff.
Yeah, nobody gets here without dealing with that, and our group was really courageous in battling through that. You know, we asked a lot of key guys to play key minutes, especially on the back end, and you know, just loved coaching that group. Great group to coach.
Center right, Sean.
Maybe it's not the time to talk about the future, but some of the performances from some of your young guys were really a revelation this year. And I'm wondering what you take away from this team and the growth you see and how it affects this franchise going forward.
Yeah, the young players played a pivotal role all year, but, you know, I think tonight for me, you know, Joe Pavelski, 5 shots on net. You know, he turned the clock back. I don't know if it'll be Joe's last game or not, but absolute privilege of my coaching career to coach a guy like that. And, you know, our young players are all better for having been around a guy like that.
Second row left, Leah.
Hey, Pete. All 3 guys that we talked to tonight got a little bit emotional talking about just the camaraderie of this group, how much everyone's wanted to win for each other. How much did you feel that this year, especially compared to any other year in your career?
Yeah, it was a special group. It was a special group, and you know, I think we got a tough draw. You know, I thought we did things right all year. Got the first seed, you know, and then you draw Vegas and Colorado, and you know, it's and then Edmonton. You know, I think so. Tough draw.
And now Oilers head coach Kris Knoblauch.
Kris, September, October. Well, September, you're preparing for an AHL season. You're coaching in the AHL. Now you're going to be preparing a team for the Stanley Cup Final. Maybe just the thoughts on this process and on this year and on your journey.
I don't have any words. This is remarkable. It's amazing. I just hopefully at the time hoping I get my American League team into the playoffs, and we'll see what happens from there. And for me to be going to the Stanley Cup Final with this organization, it is awesome. But you know, everyone said it. We want 4 more, but right now this is pretty awesome.
Third row on the left, Jason.
Kris, this is for Cam. He's wondering, who are you thinking about now and why?
Well, my family, obviously, would be the biggest one. My wife, I just think about the sacrifices she made for me to be here and coach. You know, how many times we've moved and how many jobs she's given up. You know, looking back, I was thinking about today, and you know, if I was go back, I was thinking probably made some poor decisions for her to quit the good quality jobs that she had for me to chase some low-paying, below poverty wages, just to see what happens. And you know, so obviously, she's definitely the first one I'm thinking of. You know, she's here tonight. You know, unfortunately, I wish my kids were here, but hopefully I get to see them soon. But those 3 are the ones I'm thinking about.
And Kris, to the game tonight, you know, Stuart Skinner obviously played great. You got 2-0, and I don't think your game plan was sit back as much as you did. Can you kind of walk us through what you were going through when you're seeing it unfold about tonight's game?
Yeah, it's one of those games where it's never the intention to sit back, and it's kind of what happened in the game where we got down 2-0 against Dallas in the series, and then they kind of sit back and we just push and push, and once you have the momentum, it's hard to change that. And you know, I just think we were always playing safe, always just getting pucks over the blue line, and what happens is you just end up not having the puck and you end up having to defend, and I think that's what it was. Each guy was so cognizant they did not want to make that mistake, and it ends up we ended up defending. I thought we did a great job defending. I thought we did a really good job on that part of it, on not giving up very many scoring chances. But the fact that we had to defend as much as we did was not what we want to do.
Second row on left.
Congratulations to the coach. What a whirlwind year. November the 9th. the Oilers lose to the San Jose Sharks, the last place team in the National Hockey League. They fall to 2-9-1. And we were doing a lot of panels saying this was close, even though it was still early, that early gets late very quickly in the NHL season. And they were a couple losses away from maybe the season falling away from them. Here they are. They make a coaching change, and they're in the Stanley Cup Final against the Florida Panthers. We have about a week to preview this, but quick thoughts on Edmonton, Florida.
To me, the two best teams in the playoffs are playing for the Stanley Cup. You look at the semifinals, Florida was the better team through 6 games, even though the Rangers were the President's Trophy champions. And you look at 6 games in this series, Edmonton was the way better team, and they deserve to be there.
For me, it's going to be how Connor McDavid is going to be able to get through Florida. They were able to really shut down Kucherov, Pasternak, and the high-flying Rangers in the 3 rounds that they had to go through to get to the Stanley Cup Final. So for me, how does McDavid break through against Forsling, Ekblad, Barkov? That's the number one key.
Yeah, I'm with you. The matchups, right? You know, Barkov and Reinhart and how they took apart Zibanejad and Kreider and go down the list of all the talents that the New York Rangers had that just couldn't get it going in the Eastern Conference Final. And say what you want about the Edmonton Oilers, they can beat you in many different ways. The Florida Panthers legitimately beat teams. Any game you want to play, Florida will play. So it's going to be a fun series.
And remember, this is Florida's second turn there in consecutive years. Yeah. Edmonton's just getting to the dance. Florida's already experienced a loss. Can that be the difference in helping them get over the hump?
I've been saying for a couple of years that I often thought if McDavid and Draisaitl ever got close to a Stanley Cup, that they couldn't be stopped because they're that good. Florida will put a really good test to that theory as we get ready for Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final. It'll be Saturday night. It's a long one. If it goes 7, it's June 24th when it will be handed out.